I'm Alicia George, and I'm standing here on the site of a sugar factory about 100 years old with none other than Lila Hampson Farrell, the brainchild of the project This Is Me. Now, this is a story about African descendants and their journey from West Africa to Antigua. And Lila is going to tell us a bit about how she conceptualized this project. Lila, what inspired you to create such a project, and what is the project about?
Okay, so in 2019, we began planning family reunion, which is the Hampson family reunion. And we began to do in-depth research into the lineage from Africa, trying to trace the roots as far back as possible. And last year, we got stuck at a black woman who's recorded as Catherine, who had children with a white man recorded as George or Frank Hampson. I would have had that for a little while sitting down, and then I began to think about what I would do for my birthday. And I thought of doing a music video, but this was not the way I expected it to be. I expected it to be a come and sing a song and go home kind of thing, and then it became something else over time as I thought about it and began to put the pieces together for a video. It took a different life.
Now, you mentioned that you were trying to trace back your lineage. How does that connect with the project?
Okay, so This Is Me sums up for me an identity crisis. Not necessarily a personal identity crisis, but not knowing who we really are, where we came from, what our forefathers would have gone through, what happened to pave the way for us today. We don't know. And because we don't know, we don't appreciate what we have now. And so in putting it together, the This Is Me is from the movie The Greatest Showman. And I really love that movie. I really love that song. And so I thought of doing that song in particular. And so I began saying I was going to do This Is Me. But then February is Black History Month. Black History Month is my birth month. And then it began to be, let me do something that I like that is Black history related. So I began looking for the songs that I like. The Negro Anthem is one of those songs. We would have sung that. It would have been our preferred song at the Antigua Girls High School over the national anthem. And so I quickly jumped to that and made contact with some friends who would sing with me and so on. And so adding the Negro Anthem to the song This Is Me, it solidified what I had in my mind. It is about who we are. So all of it is about who we are, whether we are scarred, we are fat, we are slim, we are dark, we are light-skinned. It's about who we are.
Now, based on all what you're saying, it seemed to me that you came to some type of awakening almost, not overnight, but throughout a period of your life where you realize, you know, we are a bunch of different people who do not quite know who we are, because most of the times our history starts from slavery. That's what they teach us in school. What are you hoping that this project will teach the younger folks, or even the older folks, persons who are, you say, are having an identity crisis?
Okay, so first off, I expect that it will impact the persons who are involved. Like I said, it is about appreciating what would have happened before us. And so the persons who will pretend to be slaves, the persons who will pretend to be slave masters, or masters as we call them, those persons will get an almost first-hand experience of what it would have been like to live for an extended period, or live your whole life, 2-3 generations living under this type of condition, and give us an appreciation for our now. Wider than the group who takes part, I wanted to impact. I want them to get insight into places that exist in Antigua that has real Black value, real slavery memory of our great-great-grandparents, our great-great-great-grandparents, some of our grandparents. Both my grandfathers worked here. My great-uncles worked here where we are today. But there are other sites around the island that will come to bear on the complete video. And I want it to remind us that people suffered. People suffered so we can enjoy the privilege of saying what we want to say and talking about constitutional rights and all. People suffered so that we can have that. And it is very important to me that my children, 11, 6, and 4, understand these things, because in all of my life, at the Antigua Girls High School, at the Antigua State College, at Foundation Mixed School, studying in Antigua as a child, you don't get exposure to any of this. They tell you to do a Black History Month project and they list some names for you. Martin Luther King. What has Martin Luther King done for Antigua? I mean, not to reduce the contribution of Martin Luther King, senior and junior, but how do we relate to Martin Luther King? We would have had people who went to prison so that there could be workers' rights. We have people in Antigua who have suffered, really been through so that we can have. There are places in St. John's, and because we don't appreciate, we push down things and we roll them over and we throw them all and say we developing and we building, but we don't want to restore anything. We don't restore anything. We don't, because we don't value them. We don't understand, and we push tourism without pushing who we are. We're pushing a product that excludes us from the picture, which in essence doesn't make any sense. We're trying to create more concrete jungles in the world, as opposed to relishing and treasuring our little treasures that we have here.
And with all that being said, what, in your opinion, does it mean to be Black in the Caribbean, Black in Antigua and Barbuda?
What does it mean? That's a loaded question. What does it mean to be Black? It means different things to different people, depending on where you meet them, what their circumstances are. For me, being Black in Antigua is not very different from being a slave. We feel, some of us at least, that we have experienced success. We feel that we have attained because maybe we would have done a degree or we're running a business that makes us money. But at our very core, we're empty. At our very core, we're not uplifting at all. At our very core, we're damaged. And a lot of the damage that resides in us comes from a lot of external sources. That's why I would liken it to slavery, because we're supposed to be free men and women, we're supposed to be free agents, but we really aren't. We are bound by Black men. So we as Black people in Antigua in 2021, living under COVID-19 restrictions and all the rest of that, we are under the whip of a Black man instructed by a white man. And I would not have wanted to go black and white, but there really isn't any other way. It is black and white. And a lot of times, and for a lot of young people, I know, it feels as if the system is set up against us. I think it is. And so to break past the system, you need a hand up. What we get instead are handouts that do not help us, do not empower us, and that is one of the greatest deficiencies in our society. But being Black in Antigua today, for me, it is, I think, maybe even worse than when my grandfather was alive. Because the older ones were fighters. They were known to have revolted in every sphere, in every era. There would have been a revolt, except now. We are afraid to talk. We're afraid to stand up. We don't want anybody to see us. We don't want anybody to know our names. We just want to exist and exist peacefully. And in equality, there is no peace. anywhere that there is inequality, there is unfairness, there's desperate treatment, there is no peace. So how do we break past the ceiling and exist in peace in a system that kicks us down? Are we garrets?
So explain to me then, what are some of the scenes, or describe to me some of the scenes in your project that you feel will invoke that call to action to people?
So we're going to be doing a scene with men chained hand and feet, with collars around their necks, being beaten from a boat and walking a stony path. That's one. We're going to be doing a slave auction. We hope to capture what would appear to be slaves in a field. We want to capture some shots of the barracoons. The barracoons is a place that I only discovered this month, January 2021. I didn't know it existed, and we hope to have some of that. So throughout the project, there are places in town that would have been like auction blocks and so on, but they're now other things. They're now other things, and so we want to use the scenes that we have. We're putting a lot of resources into recreating something, and I think that what we have for now will begin our work.
Now, This Is Me will be divided into 2 music videos. Where will this debut? Where can persons find it? Where will it be aired?
So we're hoping to launch on ABS once ABS allows, and we are scheduled for an interview on Voice of the People, but all traffic to see the video will be directed to 360 Aperture and Lifeline Records. They are responsible for the sound, the visuals that you will see. The quality that comes out is a representation of young Antiguan talent. Everybody who is working on this project is some black somebody child from Antigua some way. And even if they're not originally from Antigua, them from them parts, them come from West Africa up on boat and drop off down the road. Yes.
Okay. Well, you heard it here, Lila Hampson Farrell speaking about her project, This Is Me, something to look out for in 2021.